A Bhikkhu conference was held today at the BMICH to honour the services rendered by parliamentarian Mervyn Silva. At the event, it was revealed that an epistle would be handed over to the President, stating that the parliamentarian's work should be appreciated. A large number of bhikkhus participated at the event.
In the meantime, the third International Congress of the Society of South Asian Archaeology is being held in Sri Lanka this year. The University of Kelaniya is hosting the two-day event, which commenced today.
The Society of South Asian Archaeology, which was established in 2005, has over 800 members in various South Asian nations. Over 100 foreign archaeologists and about 50 archaeologists from Sri Lanka attended today's event. Many distinguished speakers shared their views at the third International Congress of the Society of South Asian Archaeology today.
South Asia constitutes a distinct ethno-cultural entity in the global cultural landscape. It bears archaeological evidence of humans from as far back as 2 million years ago. In order to understand the statics and dynamics of our past cultures, it is very necessary to focus on archaeology to provide much of the primary data.
And up next is Action TV.
In a bid to put a stop to the great danger caused to the people of Minipe from the threat of wild elephants, a decision was taken to erect an electric fence separating the Minipe hamlet from the Victoria, Randanigala and Rantame forest reserves after a comprehensive analysis was conducted. Whilst the construction of the electric fence was to be done under 2 phases, the allocation made for the implementation of the first phase was 3.5 million rupees. Accordingly, the first phase, encompassing the erection of the electric fence from the Minipe Anicut to the Hasalaka town, was completed over 1.5 years ago.
Now
it's been about 2 years since they bought this here. What we have to ask the authorities is why we don't have solutions to our problems. We don't have anyone else to tell our grievances to.
Villagers charge that a timber racket has also been taking place under the pretext of constructing a 100-meter pathway for this electric fence.
Not even the relevant officials are looking into this. We are only being cheated. No solution is being given. We lead harsh and difficult lives.
Isn't it a show of official inaction and incompetence to have wasted large amounts of public funds at the cost of human safety by not completing the Minipe electric fence as planned? Director General of the Department of Wildlife, this is over to you.
Yet another phase of the protest campaign organised by the United National Party demanding for the cost of living to be reduced and a people-friendly constitution to be introduced was held today.
The protest campaign was held in the Jala town this evening under the patronage of opposition leader Ranil Wickremesinghe. Promises were made stating that relief would be granted once the war is over. The war is over now, but the promised relief has not been granted. Sarath Fonseca, who won the war, is behind bars today. Even the kitchens of those who tightened their belts during the war are going to be shut down now. They talk about inflation. The central bank makes various statements, but hunger in the country continues to increase. They say that they cannot increase salaries. They promised to increase salaries of government servants by 2,500 rupees. They cannot even increase that. We say that the salary should be increased. Provide the public with relief concerning the cost of living. Let the public earn an income through which they can live. If the government cannot do this, UNP will take these protests forward. We will not stop. Meanwhile, several high-ranking UNP representatives visited a weekly fair and distributed leaflets amongst those gathered.
The central bank says that certain lending rates are yet to show a full adjustment in line with the reduction of policy rates.
The central bank decided today to reduce the reverse repurchase rate by 50 points with immediate effect. The reverse repurchase rate is the interest that should be charged from commercial banks when borrowing money from the central bank. The central bank says the market interest rates had adjusted downwards at a slower rate in response to the easing of the monetary policy stance. The bank went on to say the yield rates on government securities in the primary market had also declined during recent months. According to data, credit obtained by the private sector had increased by 6.2% by June 2010 when compared to the same period last year. The central bank expects that credit flows to the private sector will further increase during the rest of the year.
Arundhati Fernando now joins us from our News First International desk with the very latest in the lead-up to the election in Australia tomorrow.
The latest from the News First International desk tonight. The election campaign in Australia has reached its final day with the two main parties neck and neck. An opinion poll suggested the governing Labour Party had lost its narrow lead to be tied with the opposition coalition. Julia Gillard, Australia's first female Prime Minister, is facing a fight to the finish with Conservative coalition leader Tony Abbott.
Very good.
Got to wait back.
No screw-ups in government, okay?
There is no challenge too great that we can't tackle it if we do it together.
Gillard became Prime Minister in June after ousting her predecessor Kevin Rudd. Correspondents say Gillard faces a backlash at the ballot box over a range of issues, including the way she replaced Rudd and her policy direction on climate change. According to the survey by Newspoll for the Australian newspaper today, voters were split 50-50 between the two main parties. A Newspoll survey earlier this week had put Labour at 52% and the Liberals at 48%.
Finishing strong. I had to finish well. Yes. That's the name of the game. Finishing well. You're on a winning streak now. Yeah.
However, most analysts still expect Labour to hang on to power for a second three-year term with a narrow majority. In the run-up to tomorrow's poll, Abbott, who leads the Liberal Party, vowed to campaign non-stop for 36 hours to woo more voters away from Labour.
I am determined to meet as many Australians as I possibly can.
Welsh-born Gillard has warned that the election will be a real cliffhanger and urged voters to turn out.
It's tough, it's close, it's tight, it's a cliffhanger.
Gillard has been hit by a series of damaging, apparently internal leaks during the campaign, something that Tony Abbott has cited as evidence of disarray with the Labour ranks. Before taking office, she had been Kevin Rudd's deputy, and her sudden leadership challenge in June stunned many Australians. The challenge came as the Labour Party's popularity was sliding in opinion polls. Rudd surrendered without a fight after realising his support among government colleagues had collapsed.
There shouldn't be discrimination. I'm proud that we have a female Prime Minister.
Tony Abbott's all up for the paid parental leave as well. And I thought that Julia Gillard would be. She's all for us, for the majority of Australia.
I actually respect her as a woman and as a political leader, but I don't like the policies that she's promoting.
Other countries, parties of the left were the first to put women into Parliament, but here the Labor Party was very much dominated by blue-collar trade unions who didn't see women, I think, as appropriate representatives for working-class men.
It's very tempting.